Hey guys, it's Janice from Ozark Family Homestead, and today we are finally getting around to doing the big homestead garden tour for the month of May. Well, we're not late. We're just at the very end of May, and that's okay. It's still May. So Sarah and I, what we're going to do is we're going to take you around our homestead to the herb gardens and the main garden and the fruit trees and everything that we have growing here. And we'll just show you kind of roosters. And we'll show you where we're at in May. Now keep in mind, we are just a family on a homestead. We are not professionals at this, and there will be weeds, and it will not be neat and tidy. This is not a Pinterest picturesque homestead. It's just real life, and that's what we're going to show you. So here we go. Okay, we're going to start off right here outside the front door, and we have these planter boxes that I picked up from Aldi a couple years ago. I think they're $12 to $13 a piece, and we keep these right here in front, or right outside the front door, where it's pretty well shaded. And Sarah's going to tell us what she has growing and going to seed in these planter boxes.
So the tall flower things that you see, those are my radishes. They're not going to go to waste though. I do really want to collect the seeds, and we're going to try, well, you'll see what I'm talking about when we go into the big garden. But the seed pods are supposed to be able to use them as like a snap pea, sugar pea almost.
We saw that on Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead. She says their family enjoys the seed pods when the radish plants bolt. So
yes,
we will try that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a bit of chard in here, but not a whole lot.
Just some chard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the red stems there. So.
Oh, and a few onions.
And some onions in there. Yeah, since this is shaded so much, this lets us prolong the leafy greens a little bit longer than some of the other things. This one here, you have quite a few greens.
Yes. This is Merlot lettuce. It does really, really, really well here in the Ozarks, at least for me. The little green stuff you see here is golden beets, and then of course there are onions. I think this is a weed, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to leave it because I like it.
And then onions in these.
Yeah. And this is the same as the others over there. Only these onions are really
those
big.
have nice tall onions. Is this rocket that came back from last year?
I don't think this is the rocket. Is it pronounced the arugula?
Arugula? Okay. In here. Now the greens in the garden are pretty well all bolting.
Yes, it looks ugly in the garden.
But these here in the shade are
decent.
Yeah, those are still doing decent. So, okay, now we're going to move on to the herb garden, and we'll see how it's looking over there. On our way to the herb garden here, I'll stop at these little planters, and in this first one here I have peppermint growing, and in the one over here is spearmint. Again, I like keeping these in those Aldi planters because it contains the mint, and they don't spread out all crazy and take over stuff, which the oregano does try to do over here in the herb garden. It's actually a pretty small amount right now. The oregano, which you can see is here, it's starting to flower. This oregano will fill up the entire rock wall here. So we do have oregano, and then these, I've been told, I think they're just decorative with these big puffball purple things at the top. I had hoped so much that they were a leek or some type of edible garlic, but I think these are just a pretty flower that the previous homeowners had planted here. And I don't have the heart to pull them out because they are pretty when they're little puffballs, or big puffballs. I have a little bit of sage growing here, and this comes back year after year, just like the oregano comes back year after year. More oregano coming up out from in between the rocks. Okay, Sarah's going to tell me what this is because I was about to pull this out.
And I said no.
And Sarah said no, so, okay.
I
tell us.
believe this is wild lettuce. It's a natural painkiller. So you're supposed to take the leaves and like boil them down and make like a sort of syrup out of them. I've just like pinched off a bit of the leaf, chewed it up, and for like if I have like a headache while I'm working outside, or just little things like that. And I've found that it does work. So it looks like big dandelion, which makes it easy to identify.
So Sarah says we're keeping that for now.
Oh yes.
And then this pretty white flowers.
That's my cilantro that has bolted.
Cilantro that has bolted. So if you'll notice, this section here of this rock wall is very, very shaded by this massive lilac plant here. And so the theory this year was that we planted cilantro over here in the shade, thinking that it would extend its life since it was cooler and shadier. And it may have extended it slightly,
maybe
but
by a few days.
Maybe by a few days, she says. But it did bolt. There's some more even over on this side that is bolted. So we're at the end of growing cilantro for the season. I think at this point we're going to move over to one of the orchards, and you can see what the fruit trees are doing over there. Okay, in this area we call it the old orchard because this was the original orchard that was planted by the previous homeowner. And at this point we have 2 trees that produce pears and really 1 that produces apples, because if you can see, let me point, we've lost that tree. It did not come back this spring. So that apple tree there is going to need to be taken down and replaced. Now we have this apple tree right here that has apples on it. I'll show you that here in a minute. And then we have a small one right there that is not producing yet, but it will. So I'll show you the pear tree because I'm right here beside this one. And we have little pears here at the end of May growing all over this tree. Now what we've found, what typically happens with our orchards, is that the trees take turns with heavy production. Some years, this one will be a heavy producer this year, and the other pear tree will produce heavily the next year. So this big apple tree over here also has quite a few on it. And again, they're small, but there is hope for a good apple crop this year. Let's go check out the one remaining pear tree in the old orchard and see if it has a lot or a little.
Looks like a little.
A little, yep.
But they're good size.
There are some, yeah, see there's one. It's just not as loaded as the other one. So now at this point we will head over to the new orchard and see what's growing on that end of the property. Okay, right here in between the old orchard and the new orchard, I have one little baby fig tree that is still trying to hang on. So I did lose a second one last year to the drought, but this one has come back. And a little bit further down, in between the old orchard and the new orchard, I have pawpaw trees. And they are right here in these cages. This right here is a pawpaw tree with some comfrey growing below it. Yep, I bought the comfrey from Azure Standard last year as a little baby start. And some came back and some didn't, but that one looks beautiful. Another pawpaw tree there.
This one's just gorgeous.
This is our biggest one.
I can't wait to taste the fruit.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the pawpaws also. Okay, now we're down here to the new orchard. Okay, at the beginning of the new orchard here is an asparagus patch. I know this looks like a bunch of weeds, but if you look closely, coming out of this straw mulch are asparagus ferns sticking up out of them. We really are not getting asparagus that we're harvesting now. It has pretty much dwindled off, but we did get a nice harvest, and now we're just going to have the rest fern out and be ready for next year. All right, down here in the new orchard, which it's called the new orchard because when the old orchard did not produce well, the previous homeowner built these mounds, and there are 3 separate mounds. One here where the grapevines are, one here where the apple trees are, and then the far mound over there where peach trees are. So this is the new orchard, and the trees here are smaller than what is in the old orchard, but we do have, there are some apples growing here on these trees. And see, the other trees are smaller in size. And the grapevines over here, we really don't produce too many grapes. The birds tend to take them out because we don't protect them well. But this bigger grapevine here does have some grapes forming on it. And I did notice one of my small apple trees has the comfrey coming back here also. So I'm hoping I can split some of this comfrey and spread it out. Now, one thing Sarah and I noticed, let's see, here's another of the smaller apple trees that does have some apples growing on it. What we noticed is the peach trees right over here on the last mound, there are no peaches growing on these trees. And I am assuming at this point that a late frost took them out. There is another random peach tree right here. This big tree right there, that's a peach tree. No peaches on it either. So we're guessing a late frost took those out. We do have one area with peaches actually growing on the trees, and that is over where we keep the chickens. So we can show you that as we get over to that area of the property. Okay, now in amongst this fence row, we have some thornless blackberries, and some are producing very well. Not ready to pick yet though. And then I have some newer, smaller plants growing in this fenced in area. I especially wanted to show you this one right here. This one we just planted. It's also a thornless blackberry, and this plant came from my grandparents' farm. They passed many years ago, and this is a baby from one of their plants that someone else had been raising. My aunt had been raising it, and one of the new shoots came up and she has gifted it to me. So I'm able to have a plant from my grandparents' farm here, and that's special to me. So we'll move on down and look at the raspberries and the black raspberries, and then I think maybe move on to the garden. Here we go. Okay, Sarah wanted to make sure we pointed out here amongst this messy fence row, we do have things that are useful, that are edible. Like these maypops here with these very easy to spot leaves. I don't know, they're very unique, I think. And they'll vine out, and then we'll have maypops, or what else? Passion fruit? Is that what they're called?
I don't know.
I think, I want to say passion fruit. We call them maypops. We'll have those in closer to fall is when they'll be ripe. And then further down the fence row here, we have raspberries at the very end. Others had been planted and died. This is our only bush left remaining, and we have not gotten any berries off of it yet. But I actually think the goat, I've been told the goat got into it too when we had him grazing. So we don't have much of a raspberry patch, but we are trying to expand it every year. Let's go see.
This one. We might have one right here.
Oh, another one right there by that wooden fence post.
See.
Yeah, it's going through to the other side. Well, how about that? Awesome. Okay, let's go check the other peach tree in the chicken run. Okay, I'm now back here in the fenced-in chicken run where we have several peach trees. There's at least 3 of them growing here along this fence row, and they shouldn't be here. They just came up years ago, and nobody had the heart to remove peach trees. So this is where they are. And this is the only one where I have seen little peaches growing. This is the only tree that has a few peaches on it. So, not gonna get peaches really this year. So, we'll check out. I've got a few more apple trees, and then we're gonna move on to the big garden. Okay, this little group of trees over here, we don't really even have a name for. I'm pretty sure in the last video, Sean was pruning these. So, they certainly didn't look like this. There are apples growing all over these. We actually have 3 of these apple trees over here. This is on the way out to where some of our sheep are kept, and the birthing pen where the mama and baby sheep and goats are kept too. So, may not do too good on peaches, but apples are looking promising. And so are pears. Okay, actually, I'm going to show you another berry patch that shouldn't be here, just like those peach trees shouldn't be where they're at. I don't know if you can see all those blackberries that are growing in there. This whole side of the house here is a big blackberry patch with thorns. A tremendous amount. It's over here where we've got an air vent coming out of the attic of our earth berm house. And so these are things that probably should not be here. And I'm thinking we may need to cut this all down, but there are berries forming and there's no way I'm cutting it out now. So hopefully we will get some wild blackberries out of this big patch. All right, now this is our well house where we have our pump for our well. And over here we have black raspberries, and you can see they are producing fruit. These are my favorite my favorite berry that we produce here on the property. So, and they get out of hand very quickly. Well, they're not as prolific on this side. They're smaller. They're not producing berries on this side. But I am looking forward to eating those black raspberries soon. Okay. Sarah, are we now ready for the big garden?
Yes.
Girls going with us? All right. Off to the big garden. What did you find?
A little frog.
A little bitty froggy. Look at him. She found a little froggy.
How'd you even find that?
Well, I found it in the garden.
You found it in the garden? Hey, tell everybody what today is.
My birthday.
Today is Abigail's 8th birthday. That's why, show me your shirt. That's why she's got her shirt on. It says, I'm the birthday girl. And she's got her a frog. That's your birthday present. Yep. Okay, we're getting ready to go into the big garden here. Are you going in with us?
Sure.
Sure.
With the little froggy.
I have my pretty clematis here growing right on the outside of the garden gate here. I like that it's a pretty purple color. And then we'll go on in here and look at the towers. I really need to wait on Sarah because she is in charge of the garden this year. If you saw the live stream that we did just a few days ago, you'll know that Sarah has been kind of doing this by herself since I've been busy with this new YouTube channel thing. And so it's overwhelming. The garden here is 75 feet by 75 feet. We do have this little shed in the middle with our rabbits that we use for fertilizer. And there's just a lot of space. There are compost piles in the back. But Sarah has just come in the garden, and I think we're going to get ready to get started. What's your froggy doing?
He's crawling.
Look at him. He sticks to the side. That's a talent right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, where are we going to start?
I suppose the towers.
The towers. Tell us about the towers.
So I have strawberries and greens growing in both of these towers. Got little green strawberries now. Some of my greens have already tried to bolt, and some are still hanging on.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep, some greens down there, but mostly strawberries. And we have lost some. I think that one might be gone.
Yeah, this one.
But there's some more berries back here. Now, these are green stalks that I got last year. So this is our second year using the green stalks. There's some more little lettuce greens in there. And then you have a whole bunch of pots here.
Yes, with various herbs and pretty flowers.
Herbs and pretty flowers in here. Let's see.
I've got a pepper I need to get into the ground.
Okay, another pepper plant. You think you found one that's ready? Some lavender and some rosemary and some parsley. Oh, and I found a strawberry. Looky, looky. You gonna eat it? It's good. All right, some chives. So just a hodgepodge of stuff here in these pots. You did have a few more pots over here on this side too. Let's go ahead and tackle those.
I've got some chamomile.
Chamomile right in here.
I've got I just dumped a whole bunch of seeds from a wildflower blend and just decided to see what would come up. So
Okay,
guess we'll see what those end up being.
Wildflower mix.
Some more flowers. These two are from the wildflower mix, I think, and then this was some salvia that I did.
Salvia.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's related to sage,
All right.
so it's gonna have pretty like lavender blue blossoms.
Okay.
Once again, some more random wildflowers, and then yarrow and some random wildflowers. This is a mystery that we got as a free gift somewhere. Not sure what it is. And then this is Bright Lights Cosmos.
Cosmos.
Yeah, my first few blooms have come, and then I got a whole lot more trying to go.
Okay. Okay, now in these raised beds, all along this south side of the garden are blueberries. These plants here in the front are newer and therefore smaller. And the plants more there in the back are bigger because they've been here a long time. And there's a netting now that has been fixed up to try to keep the birds from getting the blueberries. And we are getting blueberries on a daily basis now, a small amount, but they are coming in. See, Anna's going to go in there. That's how they pick the berries. They just pull it back like a curtain and look to see what there is. We also, this is where sunflowers were. Oh, you found one. Look, a strawberry and a blueberry. Mama gets it. Thank you, baby. It's good stuff. Last year, sunflowers were growing along here, and lots of volunteers have come up this year. So there's a sunflower down here and over there and all along that cattle panel arbor where the girls are. Sarah, what do you have growing here in the middle?
In the middle, I've got squashes. Let me see. This is golden zucchini.
Golden zucchini here.
I've got just regular zucchinis here. We like zucchini, so there are a lot of them. These here.
Oh yeah, little ones
Yeah.
in there too, and then
They're
you've got the
still
bigger
coming up.
ones.
I've got some crookneck, and then some more zucchini, and at the very end, I've got lemon squash.
Okay,
Those do really
crookneck
well.
here in the middle, some more zucchini, and then lemon squash
Yes.
there at
I
the
need to
end. And
replant
it does, it
some.
looks like a lemon. It's a big,
Yes.
round,
So
you know,
adorable.
spherical, big yellow thing. So, now you're going to notice too, remember at the beginning when I told you that we're not a Pinterest perfect garden? We're very low budget around here. So you're going to see feed sacks with weeds holding them down so they don't blow away, and newspaper to help try to control weeds, and there's going to be cardboard boxes over there. We do invest in some of this black woven weed fabric, but there's a whole lot of low-cost what's it called? Improvisation? How do you say it?
I just heard it called improv.
So that's what we're doing around here. Sarah does have tomatoes growing in this area. They're small still.
There are various sizes.
Various sizes and of different types. They will get
don't
bigger.
know what type is what because I had a frost which killed most of them. Then I had a whole lot of volunteers come up, so I don't know what I've got.
Okay, we'll just see. So that's where the tomatoes all are. Through here, this is your melon patch, right?
Yes.
And again, she's using these flags to mark where each little plant is. So there's a plant there. There's a plant there. Where you see each flag, there's a melon plant. And an occasional sunflower just growing at random that comes up. Another blueberry. All right. Thank you, Anna. Okay, so that's all the melons.
And another sunflower.
Another sunflower.
I think this is the dwarf one though.
A dwarf sunflower.
Yeah, I think it's only supposed to get like this tall. I'm
Okay.
not sure. I guess we'll see in future videos.
Over here in these two little beds are the garlic that was planted last fall. We need to come out now and be snapping off these garlic scapes that are producing on the tops of the garlic. And what we did last year is we snapped these off and we dehydrated them. We did use some in fresh cooking, but we dehydrated the majority of them and made a garlic scape powder to use in our dishes. So that will be done here soon. Okay, what is in this little patch here, Sarah?
This is my basil.
Basil. All of this is basil?
Yes. They're
Okay.
of different kinds.
Larger ones there and some smaller ones all through here. Sarah's going to be harvesting basil this year.
I love basil.
It smells so good. All right, and then this is kale
Yes.
that has gone to seed,
I need to harvest the pods.
and she needs to harvest the pods. So there's still a little bit right there growing. How about that? Okay, this other cattle panel arbor here. We're going to start on it next. Okay, now if you have seen one of our older videos, and it's called 200 bean plants. Does that sound right, Sarah? 200 bean plants. That's the video where we talked about planting 200 bean plants this year. And this is the cattle panel arbor that I showed you guys in that older video. So what you're going to see on both sides growing up this arbor are different bean plants. And then down through the middle, it's covered up with that white fabric there, are our brassicas. And those are covered up because every single year we struggle with eggs getting laid on them and the little wormies just coming along and eating everything up. So this is our attempt to try to keep those eggs from being laid on our plants. So again, feed sacks, cardboard, weighing it down, trying to keep us from having to weed so much. There's the bean plants. They're smaller on this side.
Yeah.
The ones on the other side are definitely larger.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, Sarah, I know you've got green beans growing in here, but you've also got those, are they Chinese long beans?
Right here.
These are the Chinese long beans.
Yes.
And we grew those last year also. Those are great in stir fries. So there are all different varieties of different beans growing in here. The purple green beans, you have some of those planted too. So, and we haven't gotten the weed, the pile of cardboard there we're going to be using for this other half of the cattle panel arbor. This is a work in progress. Okay, I'm seeing eggplant.
Yes.
Okay, in here we've got some small little eggplants that you just transferred over into the ground.
Yes, just yesterday. They
So-
don't look that great.
Just yesterday, they're still in a little shock, I think. So those are coming along. And then all in front of me here are the peas. Now the peas are on their way out.
Yeah.
They're yellowing. We're still getting a great harvest of peas every day. Now, Sarah, you said some of these are shelling peas,
Yeah.
which are these fatter ones over here. These are not being harvested yet. I don't know at what point. I guess you've got a plan here, right, Sarah?
Yeah, when they get dried out.
Then you're going to harvest them?
Yes.
For seed?
I'm working on it. I'm learning.
But we're eating lots of pea pods every single day. And down the middle, you have some kale. Sporadically, kale down the middle here. Okay. And then the peas on this side. This is a little stretch of potatoes here. And I did not show them the potato patches. They're out there in the pasture. Not everything would fit in those potato patches, so the extras got put in here. And then, what's in these tubs here, Sarah?
Nothing yet, but this is where we plan on putting our peanuts.
Okay, Samuel is wanting to grow peanuts this year. He is my oldest, my 18-year-old, and he's decided he wants to do peanuts, so he can be a peanut farmer this summer. This area through here is all sweet potatoes. These are the sweet potatoes that we grew the slips ourselves in those mason jars with some water. And then on the very end here, we have a whole bunch of peppers.
If you look on a few, we have little baby peppers.
Oh yeah, like this one.
Yeah.
Little baby peppers. Okay. Is that it in here? Am I missing something?
Well, there's the volunteers in the compost
The
pile.
volunteers in the compost pile. Here, let me step over the peppers. And volunteers that have not been moved.
I have a sunflower.
Another
some
sunflower.
squash of some kind, and then I got tomatoes all in the back.
Oh, there are some beautiful tomatoes back there. No
Oh.
telling.
And one potato.
And a potato growing down here in this part of the compost pile. Oh my. Okay. If we're done in here, I'll run out and show them the potato patches.
Okay.
Okay, through here we have one of the potato patches, and we have several different varieties growing down through here. Looks like we need to get them hilled up again. It's just hard to keep up with everything. So we have this patch here, and then another patch over here. And again, we are low tech. Our fencing is just some wire and some pallets rigged up to keep the chickens and things out of here. Not fancy. I promised you guys not fancy, and that's what I'm giving you, right? Rebecca, are you playing with David? Yeah? Look how big you are. You see your shirt? You have your shirt on today because it's Abigail's birthday. Your shirt says it's my sister's birthday. She's definitely a little farm girl. She'd much rather be outside than inside. Isn't that right, David? Yeah. 2 days from now is David's birthday. He's going to be a 12-year-old. Yes. Okay. And here's our little chicks, our little egg layers that we hatched out. They're growing out in this movable chicken tractor. It gets moved around every day. They're hiding here under their shade. Sean and Andrew over there trimming up the hedges in the front yard. So you're probably hearing all kinds of noise in the background. That's what that is. See, not trimmed up over here. Trimmed up over there. So they're working on it. I do have more green stalks right up here closer to the house with onions in them. And then more over here. And those greens are growing very well. Sarah does have a few things here in this rock wall. We have some echinacea coming up there. She has some more chamomile and some wildflowers. There are some zinnias mixed in there as well that have just come up as volunteers too. Again, lots more chamomile and zinnias. And wildflowers. And that may be some yarrow back there. I don't know, that kind of looks like yarrow-ish to me. Okay, Sarah is inside making Abigail's birthday cake at this point, and I've just got a couple more spots I want to show you. These pots up here are primarily wildflowers. I think, is that snapdragons there? You're just going to have to take my word for it since Sarah's not here. I know that's chamomile, and I know this is lemon balm. We use this in teas. Now, our little boots here that we've repurposed, these are boots that had holes in them, so we are using them as planters for the first time this year. You come to help me?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And they're doing fine, they just dry out super quick, so they have to be watered often, and if you don't, the plants dry out. So, more wildflowers, those pretty blue ones. Also repurposed a watering can that ended up with a hole in it too. Just using what we've got. More chamomile, more wildflowers. There is, let's see, this is horehound here in the back. And that's used for medicinal purposes as well. I can only think of one other space that I want to show you guys today. So we are just about finished here. You okay? What did David do? Ooh, look how big you are. Okay, and again, without Sarah here, I am not totally knowledgeable on what everything is, but this is the table of all the things that are still left to be planted out. We do still have sweet potatoes. This is how we've grown them out, our own slips. So we do still have some plants that we can harvest off these and transfer out to the garden. I believe this right here is elderberry. And let me see this. Yeah, looks like a basil. So those are some basil plants. These are more sweet potato slips that need to be transferred out there. This looks like more chamomile. I believe this is mullein here in the back with those soft velvety leaves. And then, uh-oh, what happened? Well, she's okay. David's got her. This says this is lavender bergamot. So we have a few of those. I'm not sure what everything else is. But Sarah knows. These are all going out at some point too. More in that pot. And then, oh, I do see dill on here. So there is some dill that really needs to go out. I do have hostas growing all around my trees. Some are trying to start flowering. And I have several different varieties out here. Abigail's spying on me over there. You're sneaky, sneaky. And more hostas over here. Okay, guys. Was that overwhelming? It's overwhelming to me. I don't know if it's overwhelming to you guys seeing it on camera, but it's a lot. There's a lot to keep up with. Now, thankfully, there are a lot of us, but still, it's a lot. So, I'm hoping to do one of these every single month, so you could go back and look at the one from April, and Lord willing, next month there will be one in June. So, check back in with us. And if you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. And please tell your family and friends to watch Ozark Family Homestead. Our family would surely appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Ozark Family Homestead.